I think it's supremely important. Most commerce and most transactions still happen in the offline world, right? What I call the real world. And so it's supremely important that any company that has a multi-channel presence measures multi-channel analytics. In fact, I like saying that we don't have online marketing, we don't have offline marketing, we have non-line marketing. There's no line. And most marketers have to think about the impact that their website is having in the offline world. And you can measure it. You can measure the number of people you send to the stores. You can measure the number of people who went to your site and bought your car in the real world. You can measure the number of people whose satisfaction is increased or lower or decreased. You can measure the branding impact of your online existence on your offline existence, changing attitudes, on and on and on. So you can absolutely measure it. And I think the best companies in the world execute non-line campaigns that work online and offline and have a continuity between them, and they measure non-line analytics. And that's the only way to be successful. It is increasing. So I remember at Google we have a program called Google Analytics Authorized Consultants, and it's a great program. And what we do is we train local agencies in any market, and we authorize them as consultants. We don't charge them any fees or anything. We just train them and we approve them. So we used to only have one authorized consultant in Mexico City, and now I think we're on the way to having 3. At least in the next few months. And of course, we are going from 1 to 3 simply because there is so much demand in the marketplace for analytics. So one of the things that I'm very excited about is while some of the savviness in digital marketing in Mexico is a little bit behind other parts, say, of North America, they are moving at a more rapid pace. So they are asking for accountability. They're asking for data when they're starting these big initiatives. So I'm actually very optimistic about the future of web analytics in Mexico. So it is coincidental that they come from religion. It's complete coincidence. But I do believe that the web is such a unique and differentiated medium that in some sense you have to forget the things that you learned that made you successful in the past, and you have to rewire your mind to think differently. So when I evangelize, or when I go out and talk to the world, or when I write my blog or I tweet and all that stuff, my hope is to help you rewire your brain to think a little differently, to give you ideas that you can execute much faster. So it is coincidental that we use religious terms, but at the core of it, we want to change people's mental models, the way they think, because if we can change that, they will be successful for a very long time. The first one, I think, in context of Mexico, I think the first one I would say is that don't copy-paste TV on the web. It's one of the biggest mistakes I think companies are making. When they create websites, they create campaigns, when they create these things, I can see very clearly they're copy-pasting what they do in the offline world and the online world. It's the single biggest mistake you can make. So you've got to rethink that. The second thing is I was talking a few minutes ago about my 1090 rule. It is that if you want to make good decisions, you should, and you have 100 pesos to make a good decision, you should invest $10 in the tools, and you should invest $90 in people. Hiring smart, capable people who have the web in their blood is the single biggest creator of success for companies on the web. And I'm not saying analytics, I'm saying online marketing and customer service and every facet of it. So the second thing I would say. The third thing I would say is that you have to think about using customer data and interacting with consumers in a very different way. I showed an example of a very large Mexican company that was on Facebook, and all he was doing is just giving people coupons. Well, they give people coupons on the web, they give in newspaper, they give in catalogs, they give in emails, they give coupon everywhere. Why can't you reimagine how to use Facebook in a different way to have a more real relationship with consumers? And this is the third thing I would say is that we were able to be successful by holding our consumers at a distance in the past. We just shout at them through TV and maybe some of them will buy. On the web, you have to think about the relationship you're creating. And so that's the third thing I would say is very important. And the fourth one is that you have to realize that from day one, you should ask the question, how is what we do on the web impacting our business bottom line? Don't do it because it feels good. Don't do it because you have a guru somewhere. Don't do it because of any other reasons. You should do it because you can measure the success of every dollar you spend, and you can measure it 10 million times better than you can do on any other channel. And then the very last one I would say is that if you have a budget for marketing on the web, always spend 10% of your budget in experimenting in new ideas. Use 90% of your budget to do exactly what you've always done. But I find that companies that are not constantly experimenting with new ideas, new businesses, new buttons, new offers, new campaigns, new websites, new things, are a lot less successful than companies who do. So you should embrace this concept of constant experimentation and just allocate 10% of your budget. Say, this budget we're going to use to make our company smarter every day. And those companies will be great.
What's your paper? What's your role?